All right, so if we're just going off of this picture right here, Jiraiya beats Zetsu, even though Zetsu was doing some strange things in the war arc. Jiraiya beats Deidara. Does Jiraiya beat Sasori? Yo, I think that's a legitimate question. I don't know if Jiraiya beats Sasori. Legitimately don't know. I don't think Jiraiya beats Kisame. He doesn't beat Itachi. I don't really know much about this ninja, which is crazy, but I feel like I should. I know he was in the Akatsuki. I know like the auxiliary things, but power scaling wise, I don't fully know. He's not beating Pain respectfully. We've seen that already. There's people out there that think Kakuzu is stronger than Pain. I think Jiraiya might beat Kakuzu just because of the Rasengan. Just because of the Rasengan and Sage mode. I think he could definitely take him out. Conan is supremely underrated. Supremely underrated. Like, people forget, like, with prep time, she almost killed Obito. Like, if Obito didn't really have, what was it, Izanagi, it would have been Currents. I think, again, this right here was what I was talking about earlier on. Can Jiraiya figure out Hidan's abilities? I think if he can, he obviously beats him. But if he can't, like, let's be honest, we've seen the smartest ninjas go down against Hidan because they couldn't necessarily find out his abilities earlier on. And it's like, we understand Jiraiya could, like, hurt this man Hidan, but Hidan is he's like, what is it called? He's immortal. I was about to say invincible, but he's immortal. Orochimaru, I don't think that Jiraiya beats Orochimaru respectfully, bro. Orochimaru is a different breed. Depending on which Orochimaru, if it's sick Orochimaru from Shippuden, I think, yeah, Jiraiya beats Orochimaru. But regular Orochimaru, if Orochimaru is just chilling, I don't really think so. Just to see what my guy Swag got to say. Oh, should I watch the T-Ride video first? I'm not even sure.
This is OutSystems, the
No,
most
I'll rock
complete
out.
full-stack application development platform for professional developers.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Swag Kage here, and today I've brought with me my good friend Seth the Programmer.
Yo, we already knew you brought along Seth the Programmer, bro. You not fooling us?
Set the program in here. How's it going?
It's crazy because in Seth's video that he dropped recently, he didn't even introduce, like, hey, I brought Swag Kage. So Seth understands. We know this is a video with them both together, bro. We know, bro.
Yeah, he really do be programming.
Yeah, true. nice to have you.
So this is one of the few times where I actually feel like the title isn't completely self-explanatory. So we're gonna be talking about Jiraiya versus the Akatsuki, of course, but it's not like Jiraiya versus the
yeah, it's not Jiraiya versus all Akatsuki. I hope it's not
entire Akatsuki at once.
That
would be a little weird. I guess we can get into, like, if he could beat certain groups, like two-man teams or whatever, if we have time.
My last cut said Conan beat Sasori in a canon video game scene. A canon video game scene? That's like he beat him in a canon filler scene. Like, what are we talking about here? I gotta see that specifically. I don't really play that much Naruto. Well, I play Dragon Ball Z games. The Budokai series and the Tenkaichi series don't get me started, but I haven't really played that much Naruto series games.
But we're generally gonna be going over, like, one-on-one matchups. Obviously, Jiraiya loses to Pain.
Actually, if he knew his secret, he would have won.
Jiraiya would not beat Pain if they fought. Just something tells me that that's probably not how it would go.
And, like, people don't even... He didn't even fight the diva path of Pain. He didn't even fight the strongest version of Pain. Like...
I hope we get to see them fight sometime, but oh well.
Yeah. Hopefully.
The next ones, some of these are really easy. Others are, like, really, really tough. I think that most of us can agree Jiraiya would probably beat Hidan up.
Again, can Jiraiya find out his secret? People love to underrate Hidan, and I don't know why.
If Hidan is the admitted slowest of the Akatsuki, and Jiraiya can react to Conan, who is not the slowest, then yeah.
Like, Jiraiya fought Conan, beat her up, like, in base.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Versus Conan. Pretty easy.
So we know he would beat Conan, especially in Sage mode, because he beat her in base, so that kind of takes care of that. Now maybe if she had the 600 billion paper bomb prep, that fight would go a little bit different, because obviously Jiraiya can't use Izanagi or anything like that. So if he like falls into the sea, like for some reason steps onto the water, and then she opens the sea of paper bombs below him, then yeah, he'd probably lose. But against normal, non-Batman prep Conan, Jiraiya wins.
Non-Batman prep Conan. Oh, Swag will mention it later in the video. Specifically, what I forget. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot what I said, bro. With the delay and everything, I don't know. Oh my God, Ompa says, "Yo, Bar, does this mean that we won't be able to see Borishiki from now on?" I don't think so. I think we still can.
Like 10 out of 10.
We still can.
So now, this is where we kind of get into slightly more difficult territory, but I think that Deidara and Kakazu are dubs for Jiraiya.
I think Data is a W. Even though it's still like Data's like a long distance fighter. Can Jiraiya? I think so. I think so. But I think so.
Bit more difficult, but I don't think that they're anything that Jiraiya, especially in like Sage mode, wouldn't be able to handle. So the Storm Revolution Ninja Escapades cutscenes are not canon.
Oh, this is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about.
But Kishimoto did supervise the story, which means that he had a direct hand in writing some of those encounters. Like, for example, Conan versus Sasori. And Conan beat Sasori. And
Conan beat Sasori. I never even seen this.
Sasori's stronger than Deidara. So if you think that
this would be a fire fight, I'm not gonna lie.
Conan is above Sasori because Kishimoto seems to think Conan is above Sasori, then like Jiraiya's beating up Deidara and Sasori in base, much less in Sage mode. Now, it's a little bit trickier, like if you don't use that direct comparison, but there's other databook stuff that makes it more clear too, right? Now, I didn't like this statement at first. Eventually, Six convinced me to chill out. But there's a statement about like Jiraiya's power in Sage mode surpassing all 5 nations and stuff like that. Him being stronger than all the Gokage, like that kind of crazy stuff. And in that case, Jiraiya should be above Gaara, who like he didn't lose badly to Deidara, and he also then got stronger by the time the 5 Kage Summit and the war rolled around. And he still seemed to be weaker than A and Onoki. So like.
Yeah, come on. We spend way too much time on Deidara, but Jiraiya packs this man up. He packs him up.
If Jiraiya is stronger than both of them, then this should firmly put him above Deidara.
In my opinion, I like to think that if you imply that Jiraiya and Orochimaru are equals, that Orochimaru and Jiraiya are probably relative, or if not above the level of Sasuke that could already beat Deidara anyway. The only difference is that, unlike Sasuke, who is close to very short mid-range, Jiraiya and Orochimaru are a lot longer range than he is, which allows them to have more of an upper hand against Deidara. There's also this implication that Orochimaru did not fear Sasori at all. And
is this also during the video game? Even
when Sasori was trying to spy on Orochimaru, he was aware of it. There's this pseudo rivalry where it seems that Orochimaru.
No, I understand the fact that Orochimaru wanted all the smoke with Sasori, but I just want to know if that specific scene right there, where the confrontation was in the video game,
was very confident in taking him, and even was going to assassinate him at one point. The only other thing is that it also seemed in those scenes that Orochimaru had zero fear when it came to Deidara. And I would just argue that due to that Sasuke scaling, that Jiraiya probably is that level, at least relative enough to fight in that battle, in which, you know...
Oh, that says, can you react to anime scale? I forgot, yo, I might, let me see what anime scale.
Toad song and all kinds of things.
But yeah, that goes off there.
It
Like,
just
some
kind of
people-
like there's just so many win cons for Jiraiya, and he probably, like, due to scaling to Sasuke and Orochimaru, probably has the reaction speed and the smarts and the senses just to survive long enough. Maybe if a crazy bomb went off or something, but who knows? You know, maybe he could also reverse summon himself. Or
Oh, he definitely
something,
could. Couldn't he put
you know?
himself in like the belly of the frog, right? Like
Yeah,
he did in the
exactly.
fight against Pain. So he
Yes.
has like escape mechanisms.
He
if
might be
blow
able to
himself
just
up.
like teleport Datara into that realm while he blows
Yeah.
up. You know? So one thing about
That'll be different.
Jiraiya is that he has such an arsenal.
All right, we
Not
got
really
the
any
drive.
statement for me. So I would say that Jiraiya is closer to Kakuzu than to Pain, in my opinion, for the most part.
I
And-
agree with that. I think that Pain's like way.
I also agree. See, the thing about Kakuzu, if he takes one Rasengan, it wouldn't really kill him. He takes two. He takes 5 of them. You feel? Oh no, he might kill him with 5, but he could take multiple. And I'm not sure if Jiraiya has the chakra reserves to like consistently. You see what I'm saying? Be spamming off Rasengans. But if you tell me he goes into Sage mode, I think just Taijutsu wise, he'd be able to handle what's it called, Kakuzu very, very well. Would he be able to just beat him strictly off Taijutsu? I'm not sure. I still think Jiraiya beats Kakuzu. I think he's
Way above him.
Yeah, and something that kind of supports that is you have Kakashi fight a Pain, and he fights the strongest Pain. He
Yeah,
fights,
I talked about this before,
He
actually, yeah.
fights the Pain that ripped Jiraiya's arm off, as well as the Honcho Pain. So he fights stronger Pains than Jiraiya and Sage Mode did. Not to say he beats Sage Jiraiya, but, you know, just an example. And this Kakashi just got done kind of losing to Kakuzu without his MS, give or take. You know, they were somewhat relative-ish, with Kakuzu slightly superior. Of course, Kakashi, he could always whip out his MS, as he implied, but, you know, the Sharingan Kakashi that fought Kakuzu was also, you know, shortly later fighting, you know, stronger Pains. So yes, I do think that Sage Jiraiya probably is more like that tier than Pain. So I do think that it's a debatable subject. So
Obviously, we know Naruto beat Kakuzu, and Naruto believes that in order to beat somebody who killed Jiraiya, he's going to have to learn Sage Mode. Like, I think that Sage Jiraiya is still way stronger than that Rasen Shuriken Kakuzu battle Naruto. I don't think.
Yo, I don't know. Some people probably won't disagree with this, bro. But I think Sage Mode Naruto, we'll put it like this. I think Sage Mode Jiraiya, because I think it's already implied that it's not necessarily perfect, but Sage Mode Jiraiya might beat Sage Mode Naruto on a 1v1. The Naruto that fought against Pain in Sage Mode, I'm not sure. And here's the thing. This is when I say that, I know some people are just gonna boil it down to Naruto beat Pain, Jiraiya couldn't beat Pain. Naruto beat like a withered down version of Pain with a bunch of summonings plus Ma and Pa. Like, but I don't know. I think Jiraiya's like experience stuff like that probably puts him above Naruto just a tiny bit.
A lot of people would disagree with that.
But I do think that the thematic argument of him needing to learn Sage Mode to surpass his mentor probably makes a lot of sense, and it's probably what Kishimoto was going for. So if we're talking to the comments, I would say that makes sense. Yeah, sure. But you know,
Now, Sasori is a character that Bro, I don't know how to scale this fella. I really like Sasori. I want to be able to gas him up. I'm a Sasori goon. I have Sasori pretty high on the tier list that I
also have Sasori pretty high on the tier list.
made a couple of months ago. In fact,
I think earlier on I did say I think that Sasori probably beats Jiraiya. I'm not really sure.
I believe Sasori is above Sage Jiraiya.
Here we go. He not lying. He not lying.
You can take this or leave this if you want. Seth already went over some arguments that put Jiraiya above Sasori, which I think are totally valid. The main reason for Sasori is it's stuff that I've talked about before, right? It's like all the third Kazekage stuff, how the third Kazekage is like stronger than Gaara, and also stronger than Rasa, who Gaara was like relative to, and Gaara's not that far behind the other Kage.
I've always been kind of confused about this specific portion of Sasori's power. Like, we understand that he has a third Hokage as a puppet, But is it like, let's say, I don't know, like, is it like fully the third the third right Kazekage's power? Like, is it fully that? Like, let's keep it 1,000. The third Kazekage could probably beat Jiraiya in a 1v1. It's definitely possible. You see what I'm saying? Even though Orochimaru did beat the third, beat the fourth, and then people kind of, I don't know. I think the third probably beats Jiraiya. But is that third the third that's actually gonna be? Is that puppet gonna have the same power as the actual third Raikage? Like, hypothetically, I know this will never happen. If Sasori makes Naruto a puppet, is he still gonna have all the abilities that Prime Naruto had? I don't know.
During the war, and Sasori did it without that puppet, which is like his greatest asset. But there are a lot of like Sasori anti-feats out there. Like, even though he like let Chio and Sakura kill him, there are times where it does look like he's genuinely trying to kill them, and Sakura is just like,
yeah, there's blatantly a moment where he is monologuing about wanting to kill one of the characters. So it's like he's not putting on an act unless he is putting up some kind of like Joker level performance where he has to convince himself, or he's like, oh, I should think this just in case one of them can read minds or something, which is insanely absurd to assume.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, if you think of that, then sure, like he was suppressed the whole time, but like he was straight up monologuing at one point, and Sakura was able to evade his attacks. And we know that.
Yo, this right here is a tough look for my guy Sasori, bro. Because we could hype him up all we want. He was involved in the assassination of multiple Kages. He destroyed villages single-handedly. He did all his kill count is like so super crazy. It's so crazy that he's known as a legend in the Hidden Sand Village. You got, what's it called? Forgot his name, but you got Kankuro getting puppets because of this guy. He lost to Sakura, bro. He lost to Sakura. Now, don't get me wrong. Sakura is an amazing ninja. But Sakura has a narrative behind her. We can't sit here like Sakura and pretend that Sakura is all peachy keen and she doesn't really have that narrative. She has a narrative behind her. And for Sasori to lose to Sakura, bro, it's just a bad scene. It's just a bad scene. It's just, yo, big mellow in the chat. But this is just a bad scene for my guy Sasori. So I think because of it, a lot of people underrate him, but I still do think he's good. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can't take it from the fact. What we're seeing the film right now. Like, you know, when you play basketball and you go to the film room and you got answer for the things that you did in a basketball game, you probably missed a wide open layup on a fast break. You in the film room, you got to answer for that. Yeah, coach right there, your team right there. What happened right here, Rob? Right here. What happened right here, Sasori?
Sasuke at the start of Shippuden is way stronger than her. So, and then it takes Curse Mark 2 plus amps for Sasuke to reach Sannin level. So, you know, it's kind of like, other than that, I guess Kisame is...
Kisame beats Jiraiya. I mean, we all love Jiraiya. Jiraiya's, you know, he's that guy in our hearts and everything. Kisame packs him up.
Is really hard. Cause that
this isn't. Why are we even having this? He packs him up.
guy is strong, dude.
So, okay, first thing, if you think that...
Matter of fact, have this discussion because it's Jiraiya. We gotta respect my guy Jiraiya. Have this discussion.
Kisame said that the Sannin makes 7 ninja swordsmen look bad, and he was making this assumption based off of how strong Orochimaru was when he was in the Akatsuki, then Jiraiya smacks him up, like probably very easily. But if you think that maybe he was just making an assumption about their titles based on how hard like Hanzo is like wanking them to the world to make them popular, then it's a bigger debate.
I also think that you can totally discount that statement from Kisame because even Kishimoto has said before that Kisame kind of exists in Itachi's shadow. Itachi was the first one to say they should run, and Itachi also did use Amaterasu to get out of the frog belly, right? Like Kisame sees Itachi like busting his ass and is probably just like, oh shit.
He had to use the Mangekyo Sharingan. Like, wow.
Yeah, like he has no reason to believe that Itachi is like mega.
Yeah, this is crazy, bro. This is Itachi had to use the Mangekyo Sharingan to get out. The thing about this is, I think Itachi could have beat Jiraiya right then and there. Like, he didn't really have to do all that to get out of the Toad's belly, but because it was early on, they were really hyping up Jiraiya, and you gotta respect them for that. I like what they did, but just looking back with 2020 hindsight, it's like, yo, Itachi could have packed Jiraiya up right there.
Find like 4D chess lying to him, and like an undercover like on boot agent or
I
like
forgot
whatever.
which game it was. It's been a while, but there was some game cutscenes that were actually canon, like confirmed to be TV.
Oh yeah,
canon.
it's I think it's Generations, right?
Yeah, it's been a while since I brought this one up. So yeah, Generations, something like that. One of them.
Yo, chat, do I need to watch the cutscenes of this right here? Do I need to watch the cutscenes? Because supposedly they're all canon. I might have to turn up with these cutscenes.
It's canon, but it shows Itachi versus Kisame fighting, and the second Kisame forces Itachi to whip out the MS, Kisame's like, oh wow, that's good enough for me just to see you whip out that eye, like wowie, you know.
Yeah.
So for him to see Jiraiya whip out that eye, he's like, wow, that guy must be stronger than me. But you know, something I just thought of right now is the fact he made Itachi whip out the MS.
Yeah.
When, you know, Orochimaru got pointed at, like, he didn't.
Yeah.
And Jiraiya is Orochimaru's equal. That's one thing about Kisame that makes him so hard to scale, and I had a problem with this in my Akatsuki ranking video.
That wasn't the same Orochimaru. I'll put it like that. That's
It
not the
was
same
that,
Orochimaru.
you know, the thing about Kisame is that while his base stats are actually not the most crazy, the stronger his opponent is, the stronger he becomes. So it really depends on, you know, how long you think he could fight and how, you know, long Jiraiya would toy with him. You know, if Jiraiya's...
I look at it like this. I know people don't necessarily like the A to B to B and B to C power scaling. I don't think Jiraiya beats Killer B. I'm sorry. I personally do not think Jiraiya beats Killer B. And I know what Swag just said has some credence as well. What's called what's his name? Kisame gets stronger depending on the opponent that he fights. But I don't see Jiraiya doing multiple things to Kisame. That's just me.
Like instant frog song, or maybe instant massive Rasengan to him, maybe it would like heavily damage him. You know, how much chakra can Samehada just absorb, and is Kisame fast enough to react to Sage Jiraiya? Like, do you think Sage Jiraiya is, say, as fast as base Killer B or something like that? Because, you know, Kisame could react to base Killer B, so you know, you have to think about things like that when you're thinking of the battle. And
so this is a hard 50-50 for both of them. So
now who else are we missing? Obito. That's no difficulty.
Come on, bro. Brad, come on.
We don't
Brad.
need to talk about that.
We don't
Talk about Itachi. Actually, we can talk
Okay.
about Itachi. So
Sure.
a lot of people are going to be.
Well, Itachi beats him. I think this right here is the cutoff. I think we can all understand this is the cutoff. I think you're pushing it by saying he beats Kisame. I kind of disagree a little bit. But as Saren said in the chat, well, I forgot who said it in the chat, but I forgot, somebody said in the chat, it'll be high difficulty either way. I think that's the peak.
But Itachi,
Oh
but
my
Itachi
Lord.
ran away from
Yeah,
base
yeah.
Jiraiya in part 1.
Talked about this in my Itachi video, and every Itachi collab in existence that has remotely mentioned Jiraiya.
Yeah.
It's just his character, you know, not wanting to go all out and kill Jiraiya.
Well, I think, yeah, understandably, Itachi was sick. Plus, he understood that his Mangekyo Sharingan didn't necessarily have the best sight, and he's probably gonna go blind on a couple more uses. But that was just a battle. It's the same thing with Sasori, bro. You try to go back to your coach. You tell your homies, bro, it wasn't like that, bro. Y'all don't really see the pebble that was on the floor that forced me to roll my ankle. Hey, it was a sniper like 5 miles back, and he just so happened, you feel me, the air from the bullet, whisked my ankle, and then my ankle turned. Yo, the film is right here. Itachi is caught running. Like he's you do that in the hood, that's a DP. He's caught running.
Who's taking care of Naruto and all of them. He doesn't actually want to get Naruto as much as they're acting. It's clearly just, a ploy. We know that for sure. He didn't even go all out against Sasuke. Like Obito had to break the ice. Like, did you know Itachi could have killed you at any moment? Like he wanted. So if Itachi can do all that, he can certainly play it up that Jiraiya is stronger than he thinks too. And this is the main argument. This is how it goes. Okay, you ready for this? Okay.
She takes a
Holy,
picture.
I didn't even see this ad. I was meeting the ads before. I was good up until this one right here. Here we go.
Points at Orochimaru, okay? Points at him. Puts him into a genjutsu so crazy as a 14-year-old that Orochimaru, years later, when he's strong enough to fight the strongest Kage with Edo Tensei summonings, doesn't want to scrap with Itachi remotely until he gets his own Sharingan from his stolen brother.
Well, we gotta understand, Orochimaru was kind of weaker then, and Itachi was kind of stronger then. You gotta, like, Itachi was 14 years old, relatively decent, you feel me? Coming off of arguably one of the craziest massacres of all time. He's probably pissed off. Like, this is Itachi. This is as close to healthy Itachi as we're probably gonna get, to be honest. I think, but again, hey, the film's right here. The film's right here, bro. This is the film. This is the real quick. This is the film. This is what we have to show on film.
That Orochimaru, till he gets his own Sharingan from his stolen brother's body, and is just so devastated by getting pointed at with one finger.
Mello says 14-year-old Itachi is looking like a grown man. This is a fact. When I first seen it, I'm thinking, hey, that's regular Itachi. He's like 19 years old, right? Nah, coming to find out he's 14.
I can never beat Itachi. He's too strong. And Sasuke himself is like, yeah, me and Orochimaru might need to fuse our bodies to be able to take him. It's clearly demonstrated that Itachi is above the Sannin in terms of power. That's the whole point. Pain and Itachi are the above Sannin level endgame pre-war bosses for Naruto and Sasuke. That is the whole point. Just being straight up honest. It's just so clear to me.
It's very funny that Itachi goes to the Leaf Village, where Naruto is, literally infiltrates it and starts eating in a restaurant undercover. Nobody spots him, right? And then fights with everybody outside, but he specifically waits until Naruto and Jiraiya are supposed to be together.
I think it's also,
yo, Itachi was really for the cause, man. This guy, I recently watched the fight with Itachi and Sasuke. Yo, rewatching it, you realize that this man Itachi really could have killed Sasuke at any given point. Yo, the starting of the fight, never mind Itachi being so overpowered, the starting of the fight was the craziest. It was just a genjutsu battle. Next thing you know, Itachi puts Sasuke under a genjutsu. Sasuke breaks that genjutsu. Next thing you know, it's that whole thing was a genjutsu. He breaks that one. Next thing you know, that whole thing was
something you need to think about from Itachi's perspective is, how is he going to convince
Baron Shelton was good.
Obito he was genuinely struggling? Because Black Zetsu and Obito are probably not going to be convinced that someone like Kakashi, who seems to be weaker than Orochimaru, who he pointed away, scared him away from the village. It just doesn't seem likely. So someone like Jiraiya seems more likely for what it's worth, at least to him. But
yeah,
it's just... the whole thing is weird because everything Itachi does is an act. Even when he's messing up Kakashi's like, why didn't he just kill me already? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yo, this is so crazy. We respect Kakashi to the utmost, bruh. But one, like Orochimaru, like what's on film, Orochimaru pulled up on Kakashi back in Naruto Part 1, and Kakashi almost peed on himself. He was shaking like Shaq at the free throw line. And now we got Itachi right here, like, could have packed Kakashi up at any given moment. This just looks like a bad scene.
Like, so yeah, even since the very beginning, he just messes around. So it just doesn't mean anything ever.
Yeah, I want to know comments. What do you think Jiraiya can do to bust through the Yada mirror?
Yo, and they're trolling now. They're trolling now. They're obviously trolling now.
Jimmy, and like, how is he like resisting the Totsuka blade?
The only thing that Jiraiya could do to Itachi is like frog song him. But I mean, like, if you were to be like in a genuine matchup, Itachi has like 99% more win cons than Jiraiya does, and like just more than likely just wins. Not to say Jiraiya just can't possibly win. Apparently he could possibly beat Pain if everything went perfectly, so sure, he could probably beat
My guy says my laugh is low-key evil. Nice.
Itachi if everything went perfectly, but more than likely Itachi just stomps him out. So
yeah, and so then there's Obito,
respectfully.
which, like Seth mentioned, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Do you actually, like, come on, bro.
we don't need to go over that. It's just Minato thinks that
Yeah, I was about to say,
is just more intimidating than Pain. Who,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minato thinks that
Insert me.
14-year-old yellow mask Obito is stronger
Would require
than Pain.
Nine Tails Jinchuriki mode, by the way. Dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't think Sage Naruto could do it. It would take
Yeah, he thinks that Sage mode isn't, like, enough. He's like, no, you need to master the Nine Tails. So.
Yeah. He's seen him fight Kakuzu, he's seen him fight Pain, he's seen all of...
I mean, was that even, like, really? Well, it was enough. It was enough. Because Naruto almost packed Obito up when he did master KCM 2. I don't even think he stacked Sage on top of that KCM 2 and almost packed Obito up with all the tail beasts.
Like, nope, you need Nine Tails mode, buddy. Not happening. So that's just as clear as it gets. Like, so.
So, okay, Jiraiya has about, like, a 66%, maybe, like, 50-50. Definitely auto loses to 3, might lose to 1, and beats the other 5.
It's almost like, just like Orochimaru, he could join the Akatsuki, but he wouldn't be the strongest.
Yeah.
Wow. crazy how that added up.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
perfect.
This
He'd be right there, like, next to Kisame,
I
like,
see
where
where it comes from.
Orochimaru is on everybody's Akatsuki list. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy how that...
I see where they come from. I don't got really that much objectives or anything like that. It's a decent video. The only thing I might say is Kisame might pack him up. Kisame might win. Kisame definitely might beat Jiraiya. But as y'all said, it might be high difficulty either way. Killer Bee wants to go on a vacation. Oh yeah, Killer Bee killed Sasuke 3 separate times in the midst of writing rhymes. Like, what are you doing here?